we went over Strange Meeting by Wilfred Owen. Both of them are World War I poets from Britain, but Owen died before the war came to an end. He died during the war. Sassoon lived decades after. So this is a bit of a reflection of his, and it was also featured in the Poems That Make Grown Women Cry, and Ali Asiri cited this as the poem that made her cry. Jesi, you have a discussion starter?
I do. So I actually read through the poem a few times because, one, it is very short and easy to do that. But I felt like it had a very strong message about, soldiers coming home and the sacrifices that they make, for essentially us. And not to sound so cliche or anything, but I wanted to ask you guys, does it matter? Do you think these sacrifices, ultimately, do people think that they're worth it?
It depends on how you're looking at it, because I think that what the soldier in this poem, the second person you, makes mention to, what he's doing is such a great deal, and we don't do enough for them, because we don't have a connection, and we can almost say you'll never know what it is he's going through, because you can be all nice and kind, but the fact that he doesn't have legs, you can still be nice to him, but he still wishes that he was hunting out with the rest of you, and then can come in and relax to a nice meal of muffins and eggs. And the blindness one, though, really got to me, because when you can see things, you have visuals that can take your mind off of whatever it is. Once you cannot see, any picture that comes into your head is something that's in your mind. And if much of what you see in your mind is what you had to endure, then it's very hard to be able to take your mind off of the situation and what you had to endure.
I thought it was like a very powerful poem, and I mean, like I said, it kind of came across a little sarcastic in a way. It was written with, oh, well, does it matter that he lost his legs? You're still going to be nice. And it just kind of shows that, like you said, we don't give enough appreciation to our soldiers of any war, like the things that they go through. I know quite a few people who have come back from the most recent, war out in Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, who've come back with, they might have all their limbs, they might still have their sights, but they can't sleep at night.
Right.
And, yes, we say thank you, thanks for, keeping our freedom, blah, 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 but, I mean, they made some sacrifices for us, and is our thank yous really enough?
And our
Does
PTSD
your
is something you
matter?
never...
It really doesn't.
Right.
No, I mean, and it's so much easier because we're so disconnected with what they went through to just kind of just not worry about it, because we don't have to deal with that same problem. So we just almost can go on with our lives as if it's not
It's a
there.
sense of
Right.
denial, which is very reflective of what we went over in Soldier's Home earlier in the season, and how he feels completely detached because people pick and choose what they want to acknowledge and feel, because they'll celebrate the first round of people, but not everybody's going to come home in the great wave of homecoming. There's people that are going to stay, and they did just as much, if not more, to assure your freedom. And the same thing with the flags of our fathers, where a lot of attention was placed on those people that raised the flag up at Yajima? Yeah. They placed so much attention on them, but the war was about so many more men and so many more people and what they did.
I mean, my mother, as I was growing up, and always taught me, you see anyone in uniform, or you see anyone who, you know at one point was in uniform, you thank them. It's just the respectful thing to do. And even like World War One and afterwards, because the Vietnam War was after World War
Two.
Okay, I was gonna say I know,
it was World War II, then Korea,
then Vietnam. Yeah, okay, I was gonna say I'm not 100% in order of how they went, but like not all of our soldiers came home to a thank you or a welcome,
Especially not Vietnam.
Yeah, especially
Vietnam,
not
they came home to protesters.
And spitting and terrible things, and that's what it's not everybody, respects their soldiers the way they do, and whether you agree with the war or not, there's still men, out there fighting for you.
Right, that's what I was going to say, was like you don't have to respect the war, because a lot of times people don't, especially when it comes to things like Vietnam, but you have to respect those that fought in it, because they're not the ones that started the war, they're just the footmen.
And I don't know, it's just that, like, that's how my mom raised me, treat them with respect, because even if they didn't want to be there, they went.
Right.
And you're alive because of them, and you're not oppressed because of them, and you're not German because of them, or things like that.
Vietnam was even worse because a lot of them were drafted and they had to go in.
Right, they had
And the fact that they come home to protesters is absolutely heinous. It's just terrible. But the last part, too, was interesting. The fact that I should read it, the fact that, just summarizing it, do they matter, the dreams from the pit. You can drink and forget and be glad, and people won't say that you're mad, for they'll know you fought for your country, and no one will worry a bit. And the way that he just wrote it, was just very lyrical, but it was also, in a way, just to grab your attention, because the poem itself was heart-wrenching. The fact that drinking is such an easy decision, but it's not the right decision, and it's not the decision that they really want to engage, but they'll settle for it
because it makes the nightmares kind of go away.
Yeah,
and makes
it's going to help.
easier.
And everybody they'll know what you're going through, so
they'll understand. It's fine. Don't worry about
and
it.
Even that I kind of found sarcastic, because if you think about it, okay, maybe to your face, like, and by you I mean the soldier, maybe to the soldier's face, they'll be like, no, it's okay, I understand, but they'll turn around and be like, oh, he's losing it. He's going crazy. He's losing it. And it's like, so even that I kind of found to be sarcastic. So are we really actually kind to these people who've lost their legs, lost their sight, lost their mind because of the sacrifice that they gave to us? And we're just talking behind their back. We're saying thank you, yes. And like I said, by we, I just mean, in general kind of stories. A lot of people do. They just kind of, like, I will fully admit to, having some of these friends going, oh, I think he suffered an incident or an episode of PTSD back there. Did you see that? It's like, I shouldn't be talking about it like that, but that's what people do.
Right, and how can you understand it because you've never been there?
Exactly. So it's like, we all do it to some extent, and they don't deserve that.
Right.
At all, and it does matter, and that's what I'm saying, like, all their sacrifices, it does matter. So I don't know, I found it to be a very powerful poem. And again, it just kind of, I don't even know really how to say it, just the sarcasm in there, where he's like, you don't get it, but you're gonna be nice, I don't know, I enjoyed it. In a very melancholy kind of way.
I think that it was a great poem. I think it is. It's one that you can really appreciate for what it is worth, and it really struck a chord. So, do we have any final thoughts?
No, I think we pretty much covered it all.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
It was straightforward. It was pretty easy to understand. It's laid out. Doesn't matter that I had it sorted out, the three. Does it matter losing your legs? Does it matter losing your sight? Do they matter? Because the third part transitions a bit more into a more mental, completely a mental state of thought. The first two present a physical issue, but then it transitions into something that is going on in one's head because of the physical event that took place.
I think you did a great job writing it too, because
Mm-hmm.
with these sometimes with shorter poems they tend to be more powerful than the longer ones, because there's a lot to say about war and soldiers coming home if they make it home, but to basically boil it down to those three like stanzas, and still understand it. I think,
Yeah,
like,
and
I think
with such clarity, because usually shorter, meaningful poems are like packed with like symbolism and metaphors.
Intensity.
And, and this one isn't. It's like very to the point and concise.
It's a good one.
I would agree with that. If you're interested in checking out this poem, there are plenty of collections that you can probably find them in. It was written before 1923, so it could be, it's almost certain that it's public domain unless there was a prior contract. But you can find you could also find it in Poems That Make Grown Women Cry, which is a collection of poems having different poems that moved 100 different women, edited by Anthony and Ben Holton. So, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Literary Gladiators. If you are interested in what you see, please subscribe to our channel. We have more discussions on the way. And be sure to join us next time for another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading.